Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Tuesday, the 12th of December. I'm Derek Clark, and I'm joined this morning by Joshua Barry in front of his Christmas tree, which is illuminating behind him. How are we doing, Joshua?
Yeah, good. Very excited. It has actually been up for about a week, but the angle I'm sitting at today, Derek, reveals it. So why not? Week before, 2 weeks before. So might as well get everyone in the festive spirits.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. No festive decorations behind me, folks. I'm at a premiere in Portsmouth, of all places. So apologies for the lack of festivities, but we're here to talk all things Rangers, of course, and there is plenty to talk about. Before we do that, just a quick word for the great guys at the MPH Group. If you're looking for some home improvements, folks, then give these guys a call. And they've also got a winter boiler deal on just now. You know all about it. A fantastic promotion on where if you're looking to replace your tired old boiler, then give these guys a call. They've also got flexible finance options as well. The all important links are in the description below. And we also have a brilliant giveaway on the website at this moment in time, where you can win 2 hospitality tickets to the big one on Sunday, the League Cup Final at Hampden against Aberdeen. We're giving away 2 tickets to one lucky subscriber. Existing subscribers are automatically entered into the draw. If you haven't subscribed to the Rangers Review website, now is the time to do so. And we have 2 offers on at the moment. You can subscribe for £4 for 4 months, or you can take out an annual subscription for just £18. Head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe to sign up. What a prize this is, Joshua.
Yeah, fantastic. And obviously, you know, our subscribers, we hope they get really good value for money, the type of content that we do. But any chance that we have to do something like this, I think is always probably welcome as well. So the competition closes on Thursday. All you need to do, you don't need to fill in any forms. If you're a subscriber to the website, your name will already be in the hat. If you want to put your name into the hat, you've got until Thursday at midnight. So that's just over a couple of days, Derek. And we hope as well that will allow you to enjoy the fantastic content over hopefully what will be a good week for Rangers over the next kind of 7 days or so, Derek. But yeah, if you want to be entered into this competition, you just need to be a subscriber to the website. It will be drawn. The competition closes on Thursday. You'll have the tickets mailed out to you express the next day. So they're with you Saturday, so you can enjoy it on Sunday. So whoever wins that prize, I'm sure that will be a very welcome weekend surprise going into the big game on Sunday, which is sure to be a fantastic match.
Yeah, absolutely. And a big hello as well to Matty Wallace, who's joined us on YouTube as well. Incidentally, I had a few folk over the weekend asking how you join it at the YouTube members section. You have to sign up on a desktop YouTube version. So if you're on an iPhone or an Android, there is a way to download the desktop YouTube version. There should be a join button on the homepage. Click that, and then you can join up and become a member. So welcome along, Matty. Right, folks, let's firstly, the news yesterday, Joshua, me and Stevie talked about this on the show. Well, the Rangers should appeal Jose Cifuentes' red card he received in the win over Dundee at the weekend. Rangers have appealed it. He was shown a straight red after a VAR check for catching Amadou Bakayoko. The decision will be made today. It will be heard by a fast-track tribunal. If Rangers win the appeal, then he will be available for Sunday's League Cup Final against Aberdeen. Stevie doesn't think it's getting overturned, Joshua. I think, for me, I've said yesterday, I thought it was a harsh red card. I can see why it was given after the check, but I still think it was hard. There was no malicious intent there from Cifuentes. That doesn't mean a lot these days in the modern game, of course, but Rangers appealing that decision. What do you think the outcome's going to be? Have they wasted their time, do you think?
Yeah, well, obviously there must be some belief that it can be overturned, because it's not as if you can appeal it and it will be, and then you can play the game in between because of the time. I think, as you say, today is when we'll find out about it. I probably agree with Stevie, to be honest, Eric. I guess it doesn't really matter if there's intent in tackles these days, and obviously when you look at it back and when you see the kind of run of play, it kind of passed me by the game as well, because it just looked like a bit of a coming together off the ball. But again, when it's slowed down and when it's played over by VAR, it tends not to miss these things. So I would probably be surprised as much as, again, when you look at that, if someone's been sent off for violent conduct and they don't mean it, it's a bit harsh. But such are the rules, and I don't know about you, but I'd probably be pretty surprised if Cifuentes was available. I think that'll be a boost if he was, because again, I don't think he wasn't exceptional in that first half on Sunday. Gave the ball away, or Saturday, gave the ball away once in a poor position, but I do think he's looked more comfortable in the last couple of games, especially since coming off the bench against Hearts. And you only have to look at the fact that Dujon Sterling, who did his bit for the team, again, no criticism of him, but that is, you would not want to be lining up with Dujon Sterling in central midfield on the ball in a cup final. That would not be the kind of ideal plan, purely because that's not where he's played the majority of his professional career. So options are limited there. You've got to kind of hope that someone like Ryan Jack is maybe being kept in cotton wool until the cup final, and that's been kind of identified a bit of time ago, but especially even going away to Betis this week, Derek, options so limited in there. Obviously, though, Jose Cifuentes will be available for that game. But I'd be surprised to see him play in the cup final. I don't know what you think about that.
I think I agree with you, Josh. I'd be surprised to see it overturned. I think as a comment from William there, it's worth a try. Thing with me, and that I have gripes with, every tackle, every minute detail of football now is slowed down to the nth degree, and it makes it look far worse than what it actually is in real time. When I seen it, it didn't look much. It's not a stamp, put it that way. He's just unfortunate where he's placed his footing, and he's caught Amadou. But listen, we'll find out today, folks, whether Rangers are successful in said appeal. Let's play devil's advocate here, Joshua. Rangers are unsuccessful. Who plays alongside John Lundstram on Sunday if Ryan Jack isn't fit?
I mean, it's limited. I think you've got two options. You maybe try and change your shape somewhat. I don't think Clement would do that, but he did that for his second or third game in charge away against Sparta Prague, where he went to that kind of back five. That was, I think, more reactionary in Europe. I don't think he'd want to do that in a cup final. If you have John Lundstram in there, then you at least have one midfielder and the other player can kind of, as Sterling did at the weekend, can kind of play the roaming position on the ball and have a bit more freedom and run about. But I don't think it's ideal. As we'll come on to discuss, and we're going to discuss Abdallah Sima today, Derek, a lot of Rangers attacks have been quite direct at points, and that is purely because I don't think they have the means in the midfield to play through pressure. We saw that really in the Hearts game away from home. So how much it changes the dynamic, I don't know. You've obviously got Todd Campbell as well. Could he play slightly deeper? Could you play him and another on the kind of right side of central midfield slightly deeper? It does just show you the limited resource that Clement is working with, Derek, not only in terms of the training time, and he said that last week as well. Any time they have on the pitch as a recovery day or the day before a game, they don't really have much time to kind of flesh out his ideas. But also the resource that he's working with. If you look at players like Scott Wright and Ryan Jack, who we've not seen obviously in a number of months, Tom Lawrence and Danilo, the injuries that happened last week, and suddenly the depth behind that, when the bench was just starting to look a little bit stronger, kind of evaporates. And you've got a lot of defenders at the moment, but that's not what you need. You need a few central midfielders. And I wrote a piece about 3 weeks ago that was kind of suggesting this before Ryan Jack got injured, that actually Rangers' depth in that area is kind of looks a bit shaky, and it's kind of come to pass that as soon as Ryan Jack has got injured, and obviously his injury record means that, you know, being able to count on him and guarantee on him, and he played, I think, 4 or 5 games almost in a row before the international break, and I thought he'd maybe be rotated out at that point. Obviously comes back and he's injured. That's come to pass that the lack of depth in that area is hurting Rangers, but they're managing to get through. As we say, Dujon Sterling did his level best for the team and almost scored an absolutely stunning goal. Yeah, playing in the field at the weekend. But I'd be surprised if that is a plan. But in terms of another profile going in there, you're maybe looking at Campbell dropping back. You're probably more likely looking at some sort of change in shape to try and compensate for that. But again, it's not as if Rangers have, for example, a fullback who's really comfortable moving into central midfield, and that maybe alleviates the numbers in there are a little bit more. So definitely another big puzzle for Clement to solve. Is he going to throw Bailey Rice in, having not seen any minutes under him so far? You'd have to suggest in a cup final. I know people would say if he's ready, put him in, but logic would tell you if Clement has not done that so far, then he probably is going to do that on Sunday. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see. I think the best case scenario, and he's been deliberately quite coy. He's not spoken about Ryan Jack in press conferences. He doesn't want to go into too much detail, and I think that's wise as well, because it leaves the opposition slightly in the dark about who plays in there. Best case scenario is Ryan Jack's able to recover for the game on Sunday. We don't really know if that is going to be the case. If not, it's going to be one big puzzle, probably the biggest one he's had so far for him to solve if Cifuentes' red card is not overturned.
Yep. Just to sort of wrap up on Cifuentes and the puzzle that Philip Clement has to solve, Skylark just on that red card, it says the action Sifu makes the red understandable, but the question of force and whether it was therefore reckless is ambiguous. It's hard to disagree with much of that. Huge thanks to Alistair Wilkie for donating to the channel. Thank you very much, buddy. Says, good morning, everyone. 2 must-win games this week. Of the 2 games, me and Stevie said yesterday, Johnny, I was going to call you there, Joshua. I think I do apologise. Sunday for me is a more important one. Rangers need to win that.
Yeah, of course. There's no question about that, Derek. Is there? I mean, I don't think anyone would. And Clement even said when he spoke about Mourinho having the
tattoo,
Conference League tattoo. I think that was a little bit of a nod to the fact that he was in charge for that Aris game at home. He wasn't in charge for the one away from home. If Rangers were to make the Conference League, it wouldn't be ideal. Maybe they could go on a run there. But if you offered the hundreds people, or however many people watching this video at the moment, over 500, if you said you can win one game on the Sunday or one game on the Thursday, I'd be very surprised if anyone chose the game on Thursday.
Yeah, let us know in the comments, folks. And Brian, just on who could play alongside Lundstrom, he says, morning from Washington. Rather than playing players out of position, we have Rice, McKinnon, King. It may be a gamble, but is it time to give the Young Bucks a chance? I know Cole McKinnon's been on the bench. Ditto Leon King. He actually came on at the weekend, Leon. So I know the manager rates both highly, but as yet we've not seen Bailey Rice. So it will be intriguing to see what the manager does. There is a few comments, like you said, Josh, he might pull Todd Cantwell back there. John Turner says he'd would play Souttar. He'd give the midfield a bit of bite. And then Maka says, morning, guys. Scotty Arfield did the presser yesterday. Is he available? Rangers could be doing with him right enough, Joshua. Good to see him, as it always is. Yeah. Looking ahead to that cup final on Sunday. I think Rangers could be doing with a player of his ilk at this moment in time, but that's an interesting one. Tam Brown with the point as well, saying, what about the Leicester spotted Dowell? That's point. Another... it's one player we haven't seen. Philip Clement was asked about his future at the club last week, and he says everyone has a future that's at the club at this moment in time, but he did say there's a lot of competition in that area of the pitch. Well, there's less competition in now if Cifuentes doesn't get his appeal turned. So that could be one to keep an eye on as well. And of course, many of you heading out to Seville for the game on Thursday. Elvis is doing just that. He says, morning troops. Anyone flying out of Liverpool 5:55 tomorrow? See you in the sun for a party. May see you myself, Elvis. I head out from Manchester tomorrow, 8:45, my flight into Malaga. And a train from Malaga to Seville. Cannot wait to get out there. Let's hope it's a better result from the last time we went to Seville. But very much looking forward to it. Another talking point I want to discuss, Joshua, and it's something that will be on the website today. You've done a deep dive into Abdallah Sima. It has been a real shining light for Rangers this season after arriving on loan from Brighton. There is murmurings that Rangers will be looking to work out a deal with Brighton about over a permanent transfer. That would be absolutely sensational. Whether that materialises or not remains to be seen, but he's been in scintillating form, hasn't he? A real joy to watch. As Rangers pretty much limp up front, certainly through the middle. He has been a real beacon for Rangers scoring goals. Is it 13 he's on now, or is it 12?
Yeah, 13 for the season, 9 in the league, which is not bad at all, is it? So, I think it's an interesting discussion about whether he plays through the middle or out wide. And asked Philippe Clement about that last week in the press conference, as we discussed maybe over the weekend or just before it, and he said that look, he's not even had time in training to work on that. I think the last week has showed exactly why Sima suits the left, and in the article we have later on today, we'll try and flesh that idea out a little bit more. And if you look at, it was 8 games or 9 games he didn't score in between Clement coming into the club. He obviously scored twice in his debut and kind of continued that good vein of form that he'd shown since the start of the season. Then he went 8 games or so without scoring, and then has gone three games in a row where he scored 4 goals. And there's an interesting parallel which I think has a lot to play with this about who plays on the other side. Over the last 3 games, it's generally been McCausland, which has meant that Rangers, when it was Cantwell or someone else playing in that position, or Lammers, or whoever it was, or McCausland coming off the bench, Rangers didn't really have natural width on that right-hand side, which required a little bit more width on the left-hand side, which maybe moved Sima wider. And the numbers that will be in the piece kind of show that how he was taking less touches in the opposition box. So expected goals was down again compared to these last 3 games, where it has been McCausland on the right-hand side, and that's allowed Sima to attack the box more. And I also think there's a wider point, Derek, when we talk about the midfield. If you watch that game back, you'll notice how many times Barisic goes over the top to Sima, or Lundstram goes over the top to Sima. While Rangers, I think, have these build-up issues where they don't quite have the fluency, they're playing very wide, they're not really trying to go through the middle. Sima is just so important for them overall as a team because he's a bit of a cheat code in some regards. There was that moment where he got the ball with his back to goal from not a great pass from Barisic, and managed to in one motion take it past the defender. If you go back to what Clement said about him last week, he said he spoke to him about being hungry to be in the box, to score himself. He's a really nice lad, but he's sometimes not egotistical enough for me, which is interesting, to be decisive himself. He always wants to give the last pass to others before he shoots himself. And if you compare his last 3 games, Derek, to the whatever it was, 5 or 6 or 7 in the league before, when Clement came into the club, his expected goals has jumped from 0.25 to 0.67. He's taken an extra shot per 90 from 3.7 to 4.6. He's taken 10.44 touches in the opposition box, which is the highest of any Rangers player. So again, the argument, should he play in the middle? We can maybe come on to that in a minute, but it certainly doesn't seem to be impacting the amount of time he's spending in the opposition box. His expected goals per shot, the kind of shot quality is doubled from 0.07 to 0.15. And finally, his aerial wins has went from 3.5 to 7.06, which again shows how Rangers are using them at points in the air, whether that be from long balls, as we saw at points at Tynecastle, or just to get over a low block at points as well. And that has impacted his creative numbers somewhat, but I think you have seen a shift almost back to the Sima that we saw somewhat before Clement arrived, because he was the one, probably the only informed player that Clement inherited when he came to the club. But as I say, I'm sure people have lots of thoughts on, okay, should he play in the middle? Because the thinking being you alleviate him from some of his defensive responsibilities, you get him more shots, you get him more time in the opposition box. And I don't think that can't happen at all. You know, Sima has obviously got a lot to his profile that would make that maybe wise at points as well, especially for a game like Betis where there's going to be a bit more space. But I think domestically, that Hearts goal last week, as we touched upon after, it shows exactly why a position on the left can be so fruitful for him, because it allows him to, instead of being the striker playing with his back to goal, he can go and attack moves, he can run into space, he can attack vertically, he can see the play in front of him and play as a second striker. So, but those numbers, I think, are quite, they stand out quite a lot over those last 3 games, and the piece later today will hopefully try and explore those themes in a bit more detail.
Yeah, very much looking forward to it. Lots of comments coming in with regards to Sima. World's greatest DJ Morning Buddy says, could we extend Sima's loan for another season? He is out of contract at the season after this one. I'm sure summer of 2025, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's out of contract, Joshua. I don't think Brighton will be, listen, who knows, but I think if Rangers can secure him in a permanent deal, will we all be singing and dancing from the rooftops. James McLean with the point says, Barisic could do the same with Matondo, Josh. I'd be playing Sima through the middle all day long. And the point as well from Stephen sort of echoes that. He says, I'd be interested to see Sima through the middle on Thursday, but I think we'd lose part of his goal threat. Times his run in behind very well. It certainly does do that. A point here I'll put to your good self, Joshua. Just going slightly left field, looking ahead to January. Player you know and are a big fan of. World's Greatest DJ says, does Josh think we should move for Amad Diallo in January? I heard Man United want to loan him out again. Had a good season last season with Sunderland. Scored a few goals. Would you like to see Amad return home, Joshua?
Yeah, I would, but I don't think it's going to happen. Anyone who maybe is a little bit unsure, if you watch some of his games at Sunderland, you'll have seen, I'm sure, some of them down south there.
Yeah.
Had an incredible long loan season, but yeah, I think it's Ross McCausland's place for the moment. To go back to the previous comment on him losing some of his goal threat, I think that's a great point, because again, look at the positions, look at the goal against Hearts, look at the first goal against St Mirren, and look at the position of the central striker as Sima is finishing the goal. It's not that he wouldn't get opportunities in the middle, but you don't want him to have to play with his back to goal. You want him to be able to arrive onto the box. He does time his runs so well, and he's a player who can use his pace effectively. How often have you seen players who are fast but they can't time runs, or their pace isn't effective in small spaces? And his really is. So there's an element of, if it's broken, don't fix it at the moment. And although a previous comment as well saying Matondo could do that, I think would be effective off the left. But also I think that one thing that maybe could be underestimated is the importance of actually Sima's size, because Rangers use him as a wide target man quite a lot. The passes that he's receiving aren't always the best, shall we say, because Rangers focus so much of their attention down that right-hand side. So I wonder how much of his goal threat would you lose at the moment if you put him through the middle. I'm not saying it couldn't work overall, but if you look at where a lot of his goals are coming from, a lot of his shooting opportunities, 2 or 3 of his goals in the last week alone, Derek, they're all kind of coming from that wide left position where he's able to arrive onto the play instead of playing through the middle. And also it's important. I think it's important to think about roles and not just positions. Yes, he's technically playing on the left wing, but as mentioned, he's touching the ball in the opposition box more than the central striker in the last number of games, which surely shows that, if it's a central striker that's maybe occupying defenders and moving them out of the way, or playing with their back to goal in different capacities, that's allowing Sima to be the one to arrive into and score. So it's an interesting debate, because I would like to see him through the middle at different points, maybe in a game like midweek, and we haven't seen that so far. And how can he use his pace effectively when he's playing in the main number 9? Obviously played a lot of his football for Sparta Prague off the right-hand side as kind of a wide forward there as well. But certainly over the next week and going into the cup final, I'd be inclined to keep him out wide. Cyril Dessers, I thought, had a decent enough first half and not a great second half. And Clement spoke about his physical levels after the game. It's not an ideal situation without Danilo, absolutely. But I think it is at the moment probably a bit of a case of, if it's not broken, don't fix it with Sima, because he's in such good form playing in that position. And I don't think you should underestimate how much that's been impacted by Ross McCausland just providing a bit more natural width on the right, which doesn't require Sima to be so wide throughout the game on the left.
Yeah, Bob with the point, he says the pace of a front three of Matondo, Sima and McCausland would be frightening. It certainly would be very pacey in there with pace to burn. A few comments coming in. Thank you to John for the nice comment. He says, this is a great show. I'm going to hit the thumbs up like button to demonstrate that I value it. Well, thank you very much, John. If you do like the show, hit that thumbs up button. That would be greatly appreciated. Ian Ferguson with a point here. He says, understand Sima on the left, but I just think that if he was through the middle and given the chances that Danilo has had recently, Sima would have banged them in. I think he's... We do say that Kamal Roof's the best striker at the club, Joshua. It's just whether he's fit enough. But I think Abdallah Sima is the top man at this moment in time. The goals speak for themselves. And it's good to see someone on the left contributing in terms of goals and assists. Rangers had Ryan Kent, who failed to deliver in numerous seasons in terms of numbers, but the Rangers have finally got someone who is contributing in both those departments. Blue Agnew, not happy with your background, Joshua. He says, sort that Christmas tree out, Joshua.
It's actually it's an IKEA number, so it's actually very. There's lots more to it, kind of halfway down. I'll maybe send a photo of it later, but.
Yes, please do.
Looks better than I'm perhaps giving it credit for at this angle.
I think it's just missing a star or an angel on top. We've got would you believe it, a Triceratops on top of ours, a festive Triceratops, but I think you can buy Lidl or Aldi or whatever supermarket you go to, folks, down that middle aisle. You know the one. So that's what we've got on top of ours. So maybe that's what all that's lacking in terms of the tree. What do you think you will do on Thursday night then, Joshua? Do you think it will be a Cyril Dessers leading the line, or does Kemar Roofe come back into the starting 11? I don't think he's Rob Clement's been on record saying he's not fit enough to play 90 minutes, but I think it'll be a combination of the two of them. Touchwood, never thought I'd say that both Dessers and Roofe can stay fit until the January transfer window, but I think they've both got a big role to play from here until we break for the winter break.
I think if there is a chance that we're going to see Sima through the middle, it maybe is a game like this. Where Matondo's pace could be effective, and you've actually got Saturday to Thursday, you've got a little bit more time on the training pitch to maybe work on something different. But I'm sure Clement, he rotated at the weekend, and that's probably with these two games in mind. When he spoke about Desser's physical levels, you'd imagine that playing is the thing that's going to help that, and he might be given 60 minutes again. I think if Kemar Roofe was fully fit, there's no question that he'd be the one through the middle. But we've said that a lot of times before, haven't we? And I don't think that's a guarantee you can have going into the weekend's game. So maybe you'd see Sima come through the middle for the domestic game, and then Matondo wide on the left. Potentially, I think that role on the right, as we've spoken about before, I don't think it suits him as much, Derek. He's not like McCausland, who wants to drift inside. He naturally wants to stay on his right foot. And there was a couple of moments where maybe he should have played with his head up a bit more. And I just don't think, we did a piece about it maybe a month ago, I just don't think it's as natural for him playing on that right-hand side, as we've seen really throughout his Rangers career. But he's going to have a part to play over the next kind of few weeks as well. So minimal changes. Connor Goldson definitely comes back in. And we saw again at the weekend that, that's a defence that really misses him when he's not there, despite the criticism he sometimes gets. Probably with Barisic continuing at left back. There's maybe an argument that if Cifuentes' red card is not overturned, whatever solution Clement's going to try and play in the middle in midweek, if that's not Ryan Jack, that he maybe tries that out a bit away at Betis. If not, you'd imagine that probably Cifuentes continues in that position, and the only alterations depend on whether he wants to try something different up top and maybe give Sima a chance through the middle where there's more space, or whether he just tries to rotate those two striker positions, which is maybe the most likely looking into the weekend as well, because you don't want to upset the rhythm too much of the team.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a comment coming just on the giveaway from Darren. Morning, Darren. He says, hi there. If you're one of the lucky two to win tickets, how will you be contacted? Is it through email? This is for the League Cup Final hospitality tickets. We're giving away to one lucky subscriber. I'm sure it is. Is it not, Joshua? We'll have their contact details.
Yeah, we will have your contact details, Darren. I will find out and tell you tomorrow, because I'm not entirely sure, but you will find out. Don't worry. It might be an email, it might be a phone call, but you'll find out and definitely get the tickets to you when you need them before the game on Sunday. Yeah.
So fantastic giveaway, folks. Just a reminder. 2 tickets for one lucky subscriber. Existing subscribers, you don't need to do anything at all. You're automatically entered into the draw. If you haven't subscribed to the Rangers Review website, now's the time to do so. 2 deals on at the moment, £4 for 4 months or £18 for an entire year. Head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe to sign up. And just a heads up, Chris is on his way to Seville as we speak. He's heading, I think, across Europe to get there. Planes, trains and automobiles still, but he'll be there later on today. We've got plenty of content on the way, folks, in the next few days as Rangers prepare to take on Real Betis over there in Seville. As I mentioned, I'm heading out tomorrow, but plenty to look forward to. In terms of members' videos on YouTube, myself and Stevie will be doing a weekly Q&A show on Thursday morning. It should be, so keep your eyes peeled for that. As Joshua said, he's got his deep dive into Abdallah Sima coming out on the website at some point later on today, and we'll also find out the outcome of Rangers' appeal for Jose Cifuentes. So you'll hear whether they are successful or not, both on the social media channels and on the Rangers Review website. So keep your eyes peeled for that as well. Right, Joshua, thank you very much as ever, and to everyone for interacting with the show. We'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow. I won't be back tomorrow.
You'll be flying. I'll be It'll be me and you're filling big shoes tomorrow. And with Chris out in Seville, we'll have lots of extra content. We're going to have press conference day tomorrow. You'll be out there with Chris. Big pre-match build up on Thursday, Friday. I think it'll be myself and Stevie. We'll be looking back at the game and looking ahead to Sunday. Might have some extra content as well ahead of the League Cup final as well. So yeah, brilliant time to subscribe, not least because of the tickets to the website and lots of coverage over the next number of busy days with you out in the sun, Derek, and alongside Chris. So yeah, but you won't be there tomorrow. You'll have to catch up yourself after you've landed.
Yeah, Denzel says another wee tour of Seville, Derek. Don't mind if I do. The plan is on Wednesday. Hopefully, meet up. You would have seen the video with Enrique, the Betis fan. I'm going to meet him in a bar somewhere in deepest, darkest Seville. So we'll bring you that video at some point on Wednesday evening. And very much looking forward to heading back out there. Better make sure I pack my Factor 50. I know someone said, what's the weather like over there in Seville? I had a look at the weather forecast. It's a cool 16 degrees on Wednesday, I'm sure. So all's good. But yeah, I better pack my sun cream just in case. Right, folks, thanks very much for watching, and we'll speak to you a little later on. Bye.